I think we're all aware that Joe Biden isn't really running the country. He is president in name, but not in fact. So if Biden is simply sitting staring in the middle of the canoe, who's manning the oars? If Biden is the puppet, who is manipulating him? Who is pulling the strings? Who is the invisible hand behind the Biden presidency? The short answer, the two-word answer, is Barack Obama. It is Obama and Obama's people who are guiding the Biden presidency. Very interestingly, some time ago, Obama himself was asked directly the question of whether or not he might fancy a third term, and very revealingly, he said this. Listen.
People would ask me, knowing what you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats.
So Obama here lets the cat out of the bag. Now he's being wry, he's being playful, I'd be okay with that. He's half joking, but that's my point. He's only half joking. You can see here that this is a guy who wants to stay in the game. He wants to be relevant. In fact, just recently, a day or so ago, he tweeted out his summer playlist of songs that he's listening to. I mean, who the heck cares? He thinks we care. He thinks we're gonna, let's make a note of this playlist, guys. And at the next party, we're gonna make sure we feature some of the Obama favorites. So this is a guy whose gargantuan Himalayan ego makes him think that every time he opens his mouth, the world pauses to listen. And I'm also now reading from a comment that he made. This is just a couple of months ago, where he said that Biden was, quote, finishing the job of his presidency. Very interesting statement. Now, he denies in that conversation that he is going for a third term. This, by the way, is a conversation he did on the Ezra Klein show, part of the New York Times kind of system of podcasts. He goes, this is not a third Obama term. We face a totally different world than we faced in the previous administration, the Obama-Biden administration. But if you think about this is hardly a denial, because he's just saying that the circumstances are different. He's not saying that the principles that are being applied are any different at all. In fact, he goes on to say, quote, 90% of the folks who are there in my administration, they are continuing and building on the policies we talked about. So what Obama is getting at here is not merely that you've got a lot of Obama people running the Biden White House. So they're directly involved in that sense. This is Obama's team, and as he himself says, carrying out the Obama agenda. But then he also goes on to say, he's also referring to his own people who are in Washington, D.C., his own people who have created a network of nonprofits and NGOs and various types of lobbying organizations. So this is the extended Obama network, not just inside, but outside of government. And then if you look at Obama himself, where is Obama? Well, he's plunked down in a mansion in the Kalorama neighborhood of Washington, D.C. Now, you have to think for a moment to realize by precedent how unusual this is. By and large, presidents, when they're done, they're done. When George Washington was done, he left. He went back to being a gentleman farmer in Virginia. If you've seen the movie John Adams, you can see that John Adams kind of gets into a carriage and almost quietly slinks out of Washington and makes his way back up to New England. George W. Bush went back to his ranch in Midland. Reagan went back to California. Harry Truman retired to Missouri. So this is the tradition. But Obama, very tellingly, sets up shop, you might say, in Washington, D.C., where he apparently has created a kind of shadow presidency. Now, he was trying to do this to undermine Trump for 4 years. But with Biden, Obama has a chance to have, you may say, direct impact. He's not merely an obstructionist. He's able now to steer the ship of state, with Biden just standing up there and saying things like, "Is it time for me to leave now? They're not going to let me answer another question." So Biden is almost publicly confessing his ineptitude and the fact that he lives in another world, and it's Barack Obama energetically, I would say diabolically, steering the ship. Now, Obama had said, you might remember going all the way back to when he was first elected, he said, starting today, we must begin the work of remaking America. And I think here we have, in a single statement, Obama's agenda. His agenda is to take America as it is. See, there's no reason to remake something that's fine, right? You don't remake a car that's functioning properly. To remake America, you've got to take down the America that's there before and put in its place another America. And that is very much the Obama agenda. It's also the progressive agenda, but I think with Obama, he wants to move America in a socialist, but I would argue more broadly, anti-American direction. And anti-American here is the inverse of the principles of American exceptionalism. It was recently, I think at the Dallas CPAC, Kristi Noem said something, and she was saying, saying it in a very pedestrian way. She says, I feel like I'm not in the America I grew up in. So the America I grew up in, she was saying, is kind of passing before our eyes. And I think many of us have the feeling, I feel, that the America I came to in the late 1970s as an exchange student, the left wants to undo America as it is. And they want to undo its mores, pull down its monuments, change its curriculum, really remake the American mind, and, if you will, either remake or abolish the American dream itself. This is their agenda, and it's Obama's agenda. So in the rest of this podcast, we're going to plumb the depths of Obama to get the full gauge of this man, what he wants to do, where he's taking us via the Biden canoe, you might say. And also, what are the things we need to do to block him and to bring back, to the degree we can, the America we have lost.